Hey, what up, though, guys? Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Hey, guys, you're tuning in to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, y'all already know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add more to it, and I know you heard me the first time. Listen, it's your girl, Jaja, and if you are tuning in, y'all know what I say each and every week. Each and every week. Thank God it's Thursday, and it is Thankful Thursdays. We have the activities of our limbs. We ain't in nobody's jail, okay? Because they got room for all of us. We ain't in nobody's hospital because believe you me, I don't want to be in nobody's hospital. And we have our right mind. Listen, it's your girl Jaja, and if you are tuning in to Yeah, I Said It, you are listening to the one and only It's your girl Jaja, and we are talking all about um new kid on the block. New kid on the block. Listen, if you are tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm gonna add more to it. We're talking all about new kid on the block. Listen, one of the things that I love about transitioning and being a part of newness is that you are oftentimes, the new kid. You're oftentimes the person who is looked at as the newbie, the one who is not so much involved in everything, because you gotta check the temperament. You gotta check to see if what you're looking at is what it is, because sometimes it could be a whole situation, and you not even know that you're a part of a whole situation. I remember being a new kid on the block, which is actually um, one of one of my chapters of my book is new kid on the block. And one of the beautiful things about my journey when it came to being a new kid on the block is you have the ability to become anything that you want to become, because at the end of the day, so many people will try to put you in the box that they want you to be in when you're the new kid on the block, when you're the new kid on the job, you're the new kid at school. And so when you're the new kid on the block and a new kid at the job and a new kid at school, you have the tendency to be picked on or isolated, or, you have some challenges with the people that you're dealing with. And so if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm gonna add more to it. Listen, make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jaja, because you do. Listen, again, if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm gonna add more to it. We're talking all about new kid on the block. And one of the things that I have learned being the new kid on the block is that it could be scary. It could be scary and it could be lonely. I don't know about any of you all during this season, but my allergies are like haywire as we transition in this season. But it's a beautiful thing because I oftentimes have people who are good afternoon, Jesse. I oftentimes have people who are the new kid on the block, which is one of the chapters in my book, Dear Carlin. Make sure you get that copy today. Pre-order it at jajachhubbard.com if you're looking to purchase and pre-order my book. I am now officially an author. Okay, hey. So listen, if you're tuning in, we're talking all about new kid on the block. So listen, I'm not talking about the popular white boy band from the 90s. I am talking about actually being that new kid on the block. And as you know, our children have gone back to school this season, this upcoming fall. We've had some major transitions for our young people, not just within the city of Detroit, but throughout the country as it relates to how children are going to be offered their education, an education, one, that they deserve to have a quality education. But the thing about it is that oftentimes when you're the new kid on the block, whether it be a new job, a new school, a new opportunity, people have the tendency to make you feel like you don't belong. And I remember this is a chapter in my book, Dear Carlin. us moving to the community off of Joy Road, and my entire family being the new kids on the block, and it being a very uncomfortable situation because, you know, people tend to be very mean to the person who's new. And I also remember being a manager at a major retail store and being the new manager, you know, having employees that would try to make your job difficult. And it's a beautiful thing when you know who you are. Good morning. What's going on, Deacon Marshall? It's a beautiful thing when you know who you are and you're not persuaded by other people and how they treat you. If you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking all about New Kid on the Block. One of the beautiful things, I know that it has been a challenge and difficulties knowing that your child or your children have to learn from school, or they may actually be in school doing face-to-face learning. But y'all already know, yeah, I said it. And before I take it back, what I'm going to do, okay? What am I going to do? I'm going to add more to it. Our children belong in a safe environment. And at this particular moment, it may not be conducive to have our children in a learning environment that will create a illness, not only for our children, but for people in our household. Regardless if this is a pandemic, made up, people don't believe in it, won't wear masks, whatever the case may be. Listen, I ain't got a heaven and hell to put you in. So however you decide you want to do it, you do it your way. However, as parents, it is our due diligence to ensure that our children are safe and protected. Now, my son is a senior. Oh my God, y'all. I can't believe I have a child. Do y'all know I prayed about this moment? This moment, I remember being in the hospital. And at the time I was 17, I was young because I had my son. I was a senior in high school at McKenzie High School. Shout out to Mackenzie Staggs. I am a DPS alumni. And I never forget, I went into labor. And that was the year that, do y'all remember when the power went out of all those states? It was like 6 states and the power had went out. And I went into labor and I had my son, and I never forget sitting there praying over him. He was a new baby, and we were at Hutzel Hospital off Woodwood. And I was a new mom, and I never forget praying over him and saying how much of a great life that I wanted to be able to provide for him and to be able to give him everything that I couldn't, give him. And now we're here. And I want to commend all of you parents that are trying to make a horrible situation a good situation, because at this moment, the safest place for our children to be is at home. And that is only dependent upon if you have a good home to go to. Because sometimes there are places where our children, school was the safe haven for a lot of our kids. School was the place where they wanted to get away from the abusive father, alcoholic mother, or lazy parents. And it ain't no shade, because some of y'all know what y'all do and some of y'all know what y'all don't do. Good parents know that they're good parents, and they don't need to be told that they're good parents. Parents that are trying to become good parents need validation that they're doing better at parenting than they normally would. However, in this instance, our children deserve to be in a safe space. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm gonna add more to it. We're talking about the New Kid on the Block. So not only was the New Kids on the Block a chapter in my book, Dear Carlin, make sure you get it today on my website. Not only was it a chapter in my book talking about how young people are treated when it comes to being in a particular area. We shouldn't treat our children as if there's some type of seed or sale on an auction block where we feel like we could just do them any kind of way. I was talking to a parent this morning. Not only is she a parent, but she's also a senior parent, and she was talking to me about not being able to afford a desk, or parents that are low income or disadvantaged, and they don't have the necessary tools that is needed in order for their children to have a successful school year. And, it's really important that not only do we have patience as this method is transitioning and they are coming up with the strategies for our children last minute and making it very difficult for administration at a lot of these schools as well as a lot of teachers. I want to commend these parents for putting your good foot forward and making the best out of a situation for our children, because they deserve to know that their parents support them and support their education. Not only that, but I want to commend the teachers and the staff and the administration, a part of DPSCD and part of all these schools, to be quite frank, that any school that's servicing little brown and black kids that look like me, I commend you, because it is already a challenge to teach 150 kids a day. Okay, 150 kids a day, to teach 150 kids a day, and to turn around and still have to make sure that your children are good. There are a lot of teachers that are also parents that are ensuring that their children are being taught properly as well as turning around and teaching hundreds of kids. Honestly, if you're tuning in, you're listening to I Said It, y'all already know. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. We're talking all about new kids on the block. Listen, our children deserve not just a quality education, but they deserve the support that we need the support they need in order to be the future that we need them to be. If you're tuning in and listening to I Said It, before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Listen, we're talking about the new kids on the block. But we have to understand that we can't let people make us feel like we don't belong. And I remember being a manager at a retail store, like I was saying earlier, where, people will try to test you when you're new. When you're the new teacher, you're the new student, you're the new employee, the new manager, people will try to test you just to see your realm. You know what I mean? When we moved on my block and my neighborhood, they immediately tried to test us to see how, if we were hard enough to hang, if we were swift enough to know what was going on. And thank God, I came from a household that was already dealing with a lot of challenges, because, when you're new, you want to be accepted. You don't want to be looked at as the weirdo or, the person that is not a part of the trend and what's going on, because you don't want to be looked or frowned upon. And so if you are dealing with transitioning right now from a new home or a new job or new opportunities that are coming your way, just be mindful, because people will test you because you are the new kid on the block. And I never forget me being a retail manager at one of the biggest retail companies here in Michigan and having some employees try to test my gangster. And I'm a happy-go-lucky type of person, okay? I don't be bothering nobody. I do my little due diligence. I try to be mindful of how I talk and the temperament, but I also know when people are trying to play you. You know what I mean? And I had employees that tried to test me. And I never forget this one story. For the most part, I had some really, really, really great co-workers and employees that worked for me that were A1. They made working with them a great deal, and it really was a blessing. But I had this one young lady who tried to test my gangster. She wanted to work with her little co-workers, and I had to separate them, because y'all already know. Y'all know when y'all get to work with y'all friends and y'all work projects with y'all friends, especially some young people, they want to be with their friends. And they don't want to work independently on their own by themselves. And so it was a challenge. And I told the young lady, like, well, you just getting to work. So you can't go to lunch with them because you just getting here. So she decided that she wanted to go to lunch with them anyway. So I was like, okay, I guess she didn't get the memo, and I had to write her up and all this, just drama. You get what I'm saying? So when you are dealing with a new transition in your life, sometimes people will test you, even with you being a new mom. I know a lot of you all were anticipating, walking your kid to school with the book bag on and taking those little first day pictures. But the thing about it is that they literally last month, 2 weeks ago, just found 39 kids in Georgia that have been missing, that were sex trafficked, that were sexually abused, sexually exploited. Some of these kids were dealing with mental illness. They were dealing with physical ailments. They were dealing with all type of medical and mental conditions. And if you're not careful, this is the season where clearly we have to protect our families and come together as a community and as a unit. Because if you think for 1 second, that the weirdos are not out here, y'all remember? Because I remember walking to school and these old little weirdo freakazoid men trying to talk to these little young girls. It's early in the morning, granddaddy, and you out here trying to get you some little coop from some little girls. Yeah, I said it. And before I take it back, I'm gonna add more to it. Some of these weirdos is on social media. And y'all already know. Yeah, I said it. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Because I remember walking to school and old granddaddies being all driving all up down Joy Road or up Chicago or down Wyoming or down Schaefer to just early. I'm like, y'all woke up early to be predators and pedophiles. So I don't want you all to think of this as being a punishment. But I want you to understand that our youth equals our future. And if we don't protect them, then we're going to be in a whirlwind of trouble, not just with the legal system, but with God. God said, you treat your children as the least of these. These children have pure hearts. They don't have no alignment, no relationship or obligation to nobody. They not linked up with somebody or linked up with this partnership and they got to scratch this person back to get something. The quality of life that our children deserve, we should be able to put them in position so that they can live a productive and healthy life. And see, if you're talking about new kids on the block, some of our children are not conducive to be in a social environment right now. Maybe it might be best for the kids to be at home and be protected with their families. Now, this is the caveat to that. What if the people that they're living with are the weirdos? Do we have something in place, a safety measurement in place to protect those children that are not in safe environments? See, as an innovative person, I'm always thinking about all of the ramifications all the way around, 360. Whenever I make decisions, when I go places, when I do things, I'm a thinker. Sometimes I overthink. And I know for some of you all, if you're tuning in, you're listening to, yeah, I said it, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I know for some of you all, you're overthinkers as well. And you have the tendency to think about, okay, am I overthinking this situation? Am I doing too much? Or is this guy really preparing me for something? And I always think about, okay, is this situation the best that I can give? And see, some of us, and I talk about this all the time, a lot of us want to give minimum effort and expect maximum results. And that's not the case. Because see, a lot of people want their cake and they want to eat it too. They want to be able to say, I have given, and but it's more to give, it's more to do, it's more life that we need to protect. And these children are in households where it may not be the best for them to be there. They might be better off at school, especially during a time frame where unemployment has trickled down, so everybody ain't balling like they was earlier in the summer. It's getting colder. The season has changed. You have to pull out these hoodies. Speaking of hoodies, you can get this Yeah, I Said It hoodie on my website at www.jajachhubbard.com. If you want to go get you a Yeah, I Said It hoodie, royal blue out here in these streets, y'all already know you can pick that up. Get you one, okay, or get you two. Yeah, I said it. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And I know you heard me the first time. Listen, we're talking all about new kids on the block. There are some families that protect the foolishness in their families. the rapists, the weirdos, the men and women who have touched children and they know about them, but they didn't say anything. We have to protect our children. And if you know that you are in a situation where you don't feel safe, if you know you're in a situation where you don't feel safe and your children don't feel safe, listen, reach out to me. We'll figure it out. Because we want to make sure that although this is not the best option for our children, this is the safest option for our children. And if you know that you are not in a safe situation for you or your children, it is your due diligence as a mother and a father or a guardian or an aunt to speak up and say, hey, we don't have no food. It may not be best for us to be here. Or, hey, we don't have a desk. My kids barely have beds. I don't ever want a parent to feel like, that they should be ashamed for what they don't have at the moment. Listen, my son is a senior. I didn't always have it. And I always wasn't in the best position. However, I had a village that I could go to, and I'm part of your village. I'm a part of the village to ensure that our children are safe. You should be a part of that village. We got to stop turning a blind eye. To the needs of what our families are in need of. There were times where I stood in line, and if you're tuning in, you're listening to, I said it before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. We're talking about the new kid on the block. There were times where I grew up in the Focus Hope line. I know some of y'all know about the Focus Hope line. It was right off Oakman before they turned it into the Focus Hope School. It was the Focus Hope Center, and it was almost like a little lunch line, and we would have to wait in line. And I used to be so mad at my mama, like, Mom, why is we here? Like, and we would get the powdered milk and the grape juice in the can, which was really good, by the way. That grape juice was bomb. We would get the eggs and the peanut butter in the can, and we would have, then it would be a fruit and vegetable truck down the street from the Focus Hope building that you got your free groceries from. And it would be a fruit and the vegetable truck down the street. And you would be able to get your fruits and your vegetables, and they would have a bag ready for you. I don't ever want any parent to feel as if they are so overwhelmed with not having what they need that they don't reach out. See, one of the issues of why I had a mental breakdown when my mom passed is because I was trying to hold everything together and everybody together. And sometimes that may not always be the best opportunity or the best thing for you to do in those particular moments. See, what you all have to understand is that you cannot be afraid to say, I don't have it. Because what you'll end up doing is you'll end up hurting you and your child. You'll end up putting yourself in a position where you're not giving your child the best. And see, I'm going to tell you something. When you are nice and you seek the things that you are looking for, God says, ask and you shall receive. You ain't got it because you ain't asking. And not only that, sometimes we can ask for things and not be in a position to receive them. And sometimes we can be in a position, we can ask for things, be in a position to receive them, but God doesn't want us to have them at that particular time. And see, one of the things that I've always been conscientious of is that I am persistent. Okay, I am so persistent. Like this morning, I was a little upset because I got woken up out of my sleep to a whole bunch of noise. But what I didn't realize is that it was the construction people fixing the side street by my house. I have been calling. Hey, I need y'all to come fix this. It's tearing up my car. It's tearing up the streets. And when you're consistent and you're persistent about your goals and the things that you want to do in life, it has no room but to manifest. And see, if you're not careful, people will make you feel like you don't belong, or they'll make you feel less than because you don't have what they have. See, growing up, my mom didn't raise us to be name recognition and brand name clothes. Even though we wore name brand clothes, it was just a matter of that's not what our identity was associated with. And anybody that grew up in a projects or in a low income, disadvantaged household, you know some of your clothes was hand-me-downs, okay? Don't act brand new because you can afford some name brand clothes now, but you know that you grew up on a lot of less than. And then for those who didn't have the opportunity to have to grow up with less than, you had the ability where your parents bought you stuff that was brand new, had the tag on it. You were blessed, you were lucky, but you also weren't supposed to or didn't make other people feel like they were less than or not as important if they didn't have it. Right now, we are in a season where we got new kids on the block. We have a whole new way of curriculum, a whole new way where teachers are affiliating themselves with the students. And listen, we have to make sure that our children are protected. See, one of the things that I wanted to implement is a partnership with the city of Detroit and the Housing Commission to make sure that if there are parents that are renting, that they are protected by the rent protection plan. Because let's just think about it. Winter is coming, okay? And if a parent doesn't have an income or they don't have a job, or maybe, because of COVID, their income has slashed and they lose their home, then guess what? That child has to now figure out where they can even do homework. They got to figure out now where they can even do anything with their children. And then the libraries aren't open like they should be. I'm trying to figure out where they do that at. We need libraries, or am I not mistaken? We don't need libraries now? If you're tuning in, you're listening to I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. We're talking all about New Kid on the Block. Because at the end of the day, I don't know if you guys remember the movie Mean Girls with Lindsay Lohan, but Lindsay Lohan was a new girl on the block. She was from Africa, came in, she was new. And so she changed her whole identity to fit in with a group of girls that didn't mean her well anyway. And sometimes being the new person on the block, being a new person in the organization, being the new candidate for DPSCD, people try to test your gangster and they want to test your knowledge to see how much you know and what do you know and what don't you know. Listen, let me tell you something. I said it, and before I take it back, y'all already know what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do. What am I going to do? I'm going to add more to it. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. And I've seen kids, children, and parents, the like, struggle because they were not put in a position to win. They were not put in a position where they could excel. They were not put in a position where they were given the opportunity to provide resources in a timely manner. It's a difference between a person getting the resources and then a person getting the resources in a timely manner. That's just like when I was a manager. In order for me to effectively manage like a teacher, you have to have the initial tools, curriculum, the verbiage in order so you can effectively do your job. It's like a security guard not giving a flashlight, a whistle, and a taser. How can I be proper security if you ain't gave me the tools that I need to secure this particular area? It's like a beautician not having a blow dryer and combs in the time when a client comes to sit in the chair. We got to make sure that we're not giving our kids or our families crumbs. Why is it that we always feel like our people deserve crumbs when they should have loaves? I'm trying to figure it out. Like at the end of the day, if you're tuning in, you're listening to I Said It, and before I take it back, y'all already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to add more to it. We have to get to a point where we are giving each other our best. See, when I became a new kid on the block growing up on Carlin, and you can get this book, Dear Carlin, order it at www.jajachhubbard.com. Dear Carlin, when we moved in to our community off of Joy Road, we were the new kids on the block, and they wanted to test us to see if we were, some weaklings, if we had each other's back, because that's what kids do. And I'm going to tell you something. Adults do it the same way. When you're a new employee at the job and they want to test you to see, you'll always find that one person is nice. They're going to give you the 411 of the job, or the 411 of the school, or the 411 of the next area in your life, or whatever you're matriculating to. You always find that one person is willing to say, okay, boom, I'm going to take you under my wing and I'm going to help you out. Then you have those people that want to see, is this person really who they say they are? Or, do this person really have the gumption and the forthright to do what it is that they say they're going to do? If you're tuning in, you're listening to I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Listen, make sure you follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, share this video, and listen, we're talking all about new kids on the block, because at the end of the day, we are all new to this season in our life. This educational season, whether you're an auntie, or uncle, or cousin, if you used to going over whoever house during the afternoon and having you a little midday soiree and the kids was gone at school, this is all new. This is all new for all of us. And at the end of the day, listen, parents, I know what it means to want a break. When the kids were at school, that was your opportunity to get a break. But I'm here to tell you that right now, it is the safest place for your child or your children to be at home. You know where they are. You know they're eating well. They're not eating those old disgusting lunches at the school where the meat is pink. I mean, at least when I was in high school, we had lunch ladies, and I'm sure that they have lunch aides and lunch ladies that are still sweet and nice, because it's a lunch lady at McKenzie Elementary School where they moved her to Barton. She was phenomenal. She loved the kids. She would give the kids extra apples, because I'm gonna tell you something. There are a lot of parents out here that look super fly. I mean, hair done, nails done, outfit done, haircut, clean white tee, but their kids look like they got buckshot BBs. They even had a haircut and Lord knows how long, clothes dirty. They don't care nothing about the well-being of the child or the children. There are some parents that are just that trifling. Yeah, I said it, and before I take it back, I'm gonna add more to it. But I know none of my viewers are trifling parents. I would hope not. And if you are a trifling parent, I would hope you would get your life together, because ain't nobody got time for that. And I'm telling you something, as God is my witness, CPS will be at these homes, because if you have children that have not enrolled in school and you think, well, they ain't going face to face, they ain't going virtual, that's against the law. That's against the law for your child or your children to not be enrolled in some form of education, whether it be virtual, whether it be face-to-face, but your child or your children need to be in somebody's school, whether it be at home in their room, living room, dining room, wherever the case may be, or at school. But if you're tuning in, we're talking about being the new kids on the block. See, I understand, parents, what it means to want to have a break. And give me a break ain't just about a Kit Kat commercial. We need a break. I don't know no parent that doesn't need a break from parenting. It doesn't mean that we don't want to be a parent. It just means that sometimes, in order for us to be a sufficient individual, whether it be a woman or a man, you need that break. And by children going to school, that was that time frame from the break of the children and the adults. This is a season where you're going to have to put on your patient cap. You're going to have to be patient with your children. You're going to have to be patient with yourself, because some of y'all ain't been to school and Lord knows how long. You don't know your multiplication. You don't know your English. And this is one of the things that I want to implement within our school system is African-American literature, because I'm not understanding how is it that we have a predominantly African-American school system and they don't have Black history. They don't celebrate Black history for the entire month. They know all about all the white people that quote unquote saved the day, but do they know any other Black people other than Rosa Parks and Dr. Martin Luther King and President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama? There is a lot of historical things that our young people need to be equipped with learning, as well as our parents. This is a great opportunity not only for our students to learn, but it's a great opportunity for our parents to learn as well. Some of y'all is rusty. Y'all rusty. Some of y'all need to pick up a book, because some of y'all is rusty. Y'all just work, go to school, and hang out and turn up. But some of y'all are rusty on cursive, spelling. And I know it's a tedious job. But doesn't this mean that we need to pay our teachers a lot more money and give our teachers a lot more kudos than what we give them? Because if you can't even manage your own child and teaching your own children at home, how you think these teachers feel when they got 20, 30, and almost 40 students in each classroom for 8 hours? 8 hours. Some of these teachers have some of your kids. And if your kids are too difficult for you to deal with at times, what make you think that they are okay to deal with for a teacher? We need to pay our teachers more. We need to give them more incentives, especially if they're teachers that live within the city of Detroit. Like they don't want to be in a situation where they bring something back to their children and their family, and it's only fair. It's only fair that we give our teachers and our staff the support that they need in order for our children to get the necessary education that they need. And I'm gonna tell you something. New methods always bring new perspectives. See, we're so used to the old way of doing things that we don't even realize that our DPSCD, as well as our school system for the city of Detroit, is 20 years behind. See, schools in Novi and Bloomfield and Groseal and all these other schools, they were already doing virtual learning. So this is not a big transition for them. It's a huge transition for those individuals who have not prepped themselves, who are not technological educated, because this is the wave. Technology is the wave. Okay. I know some of the parents and grandparents like, well, I don't know nothing about that. All I know how to do is log in on my Facebook. I barely know how to log in on my Instagram. I barely know how to log into my email, but this is the wave. And it is imperative that we learn the wave. We got to learn that wave. Because if we don't learn that wave, we're going to set our children up for a horrible future. Listen, our children, our youth is our future. Our youth equals our future. Our children are worried. Just like when you're the new kid on the block, if you're tuning in, you're listening to I said it. When you're the new kid on the block, the new kid at school, the new kid at work, you're always constantly worrying about, do I fit in? Am I making the right decisions? Did I do the right thing? Did I say the right thing? And right now, new methods require new perspectives. I'm going to tell you something. Last year, 2019, 26 kids came up missing. You know where they were at? In Colorado, they were behind a wall at a daycare. A woman was hiding 26 kids. How do you hide 26 kids? Let alone a couple weeks ago, they found 39 kids. So if they were able to find groups of kids in 26, almost 30 kids, almost 40 kids, what do you think they would do to your kid walking home from school? Because some of y'all, you've seen your kid off walking. I have seen kids, little girls and little boys walking to school. No parent, no guardian. Nobody. And I definitely want to commend, it was a father group that was patrolling certain schools and certain neighborhoods because there were so many little kids. And I'm not talking about 10, 11, 12, 13, even though those are small children too. We're talking about little kids being walking to school, no adult, nobody. So if we're able to have the highest sex trafficking in the world, here in the United States, highest sexual abuse, highest in mental and physical ailments. I mean, they don't even want to pay and prepare the students over at Drew Middle School. Drew was not Drew Middle School anymore. It's Drew Adult Education for Children and Young Adults with Mental Illnesses. And I'm not ashamed to say my aunt, she had full-blown Down syndrome, and my nephew, he had autism. And you want to make sure that you have people that are in place that can care for your children, that can care for the productivity of children. And I commend any parent out there right now that have children with special needs, because it takes a special type of parent to deal with a child. Hell, it takes a special type of a parent to deal with your kids, period, and they normal, okay? It takes a very special parent to deal with children who are dealing with special needs. And I think it's very important that parents, you give yourself a pat on the back, because it's extremely challenging, not just to deal with one child, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, let alone a classroom full of young people. And so when you're talking about kids coming up missing, sex trafficking, we're talking about sexual exploitation. It is some weirdos out here. And it's not just weirdo men, it's weirdo women that will put your children in a position. Think about it. Think about all those kids that were lured Is that the word? Lured lured from a party from a woman passing out candy. At the end of the day, there are so many opportunities for this new season, being new kids on the block, to make this a positive outcome. Yes, they did wait too late in order for our children to be properly prepared for school, because like my mentor Tanya Champion says all the time, proper planning prevents poor performance. And when you plan properly, you're able to get things done effectively, opposed to waiting the last minute to try to scram everything together and people become overwhelmed. This is a whole new season that none of us have seen in our entire lives. And at the end of the day, we end up developing late bloomers to foreign language, late bloomers to technology, late bloomers to science. Like, this world that we're living in right now is changing so rapidly, to the point where people are, I just was watching on my social media the other night. They had this power suit, like how they had on the Marvel movies with whatever they call it. My son, he watch them all the time. But they had literally power shields on their arms that power up where you can fly. Okay? Like, literally. They had something similar like that when they were on the water, that little power pack, backpack thing that they have that shoots you up and you're on the water and it has a tube connected. Well, this one didn't have no tube connected to it. It had power things on the side and a power pack on the arms and the forearms, and it wired up, got itself powered up, and all of a sudden this fool started flying. And if this is what we're running into in this century in which we live in, we have to make sure and maintain our students and make sure that they're good and prepared for the future. And at the end of the day, listen, there are a lot of schools out here that are empty. They could be utilized as resource centers. They could be utilized as apartment buildings. I mean, we could turn some of these empty schools into apartment buildings for some of these low income and disadvantaged students. There are so many things that we can do as we transition into this new season to help out our children, to help out our parents, and to support our teachers. Listen, at the end of the day, it's the new wave. And this world is 20 to 50 years ahead in planning. And if we're not careful, we'll allow our kids to be behind. Listen, if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And I know you heard me the first time. Listen, it's your girl, Jaja. We're talking all about new kids on the block. Make sure that you are registered to vote. You can get out here and vote at the end of this month. I believe after September 22nd, you can start doing absentee ballots and making sure that you register to vote, because it is extremely important that we get out here and we vote in this season. I am a candidate for DPSCD. I am running for the board, running for a position for the board of Detroit Public Community Schools District. And I am looking for your vote, because our youth equals our future. And if we're not careful, we'll allow our youth to be behind and they won't be prepared for the future as it comes. Listen, we got to make sure that we protect our children. We got to make sure that we provide resources for our parents, and we got to make sure that we support our teachers and our staff that are running the show. Listen, it's your girl, Jaja. You're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Make sure that you pre-order my book, Dear Carlin, on my website. And if you like this dope hoodie, you can order this hoodie as well on jajachhubbard.com so that you can stay up on all the latest and branding news. If you are tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And I know you heard me the first time. Listen, I want all of my parents to know that we are in this together. If you are in need of support and you need help, listen, slide into my DM. Slide into my DM. I want to make sure that we are connected. I was raised with a village. I say this all the time. And if you get my book, pre-order my book, you'll hear me talk about my two amazing neighbors that lived on the left and the right of me. Not only on the block where I grew up, but the block where before we transitioned. And I had some really amazing neighbors. I had a neighbor by the name of Sabrina and Amber, that we would go over her house when my mom and my dad would have, domestic disputes, and I was still able to get my homework done, and my brother was able to get his homework done, and family was able to do the things that we needed to do. And although we had some trouble in paradise in my home, we had neighbors that we felt safe, where my mom felt safe, were sending us. My neighbors growing up on Carlin, Bob and Granny, we were safe. When my mom wasn't at home, by the time we got to school, we would have to go next door to Granny house. And Granny always had snacks. She always had food. She always made us feel welcome. And it was never, I wish your mama hurry up and get here, or where your mama at, and all those different things. We have to make sure that we are protecting our children, because again, our youth is our future. And if we take care of them like we're supposed to, listen, they will take care of us, because we ain't all going to be young forever. Okay. Yeah, I said it. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Y'all already know what I'm going to do. Y'all already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to add more to it. Listen, follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know Jaja, because you do. And listen, I love y'all so much. This week, I'm going to be at Mayor Monique Owens' event today from 4 to 7 at East Point off of 8 Mile at the Foot Locker. They'll be giving out school supplies and a lot of different things. If you have some back to school items, or if you are having some events or programs that you would like for me to be a part of, I would love to assist and be a part of those programs, because we got to work together. It ain't no I in team. It ain't no big I's and little U's. You know what I'm saying? Big Sean just came out with his album last week. And one of the things that I loved is on his cypher, he had a lot of Detroit artists. And right now is a season where Detroit needs to support Detroit, period. Ain't no extra, none of that. It's either we supporting or we hating. Them the only two options. Either you supporting or you hating. And I would rather be on the supporting side than the hating side. Listen, yeah, I said it, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Make sure you know, as the new kid on the block, no matter what you're doing, that you show up, you show out, and you stand firm to what you believe in. Yeah, I said it, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And I know you heard me the first time. Peace.